stop, because this might sound crazy at first. What if the entire financial system isn't broken by accident, but by design, and Bitcoin is the only way out? That's not a theory anymore. That's the direction Michael Saylor is quietly pointing to, and almost no one is taking it seriously enough. Because while most people are focused on price, on charts, on the next move, something much bigger is being rebuilt underneath. A shift so fundamental, it doesn't just change money. It changes who controls it. And here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The people who understand this aren't talking loudly. They're positioning, moving early, while everyone else is waiting for clarity that never comes. So if "fix the money, fix the world" isn't just a slogan, then what exactly is he seeing that the rest of the market still doesn't? Listen closely, because this is where it starts to get serious.
How do you make the world a better place? You provide a utilitarian value, something valuable to a billion people that everybody just agrees on. And so, with Rockefeller, it's like kerosene, gasoline, and everybody just lives a better life. And then with Ford, it was an automobile. And who doesn't want an automobile? And then Jobs gave a billion people an iPhone. Nobody just wants an iPhone, and then we had like electricity, and so we like those things. So what is the equivalent in the digital asset space? And the answer is everybody would just like a bank account that pays them more than the inflation rate. Like, how about give me a bank account that pays me 8%? Right now, your bank pays you 0. Right? The money market pays you 3.7% before tax. If you live in Japan, it's 50 basis points. If you live in Switzerland, it's nothing. So what is the idea? Well, I would just like Social Security, or I'd like to live comfortably ever after. I'd like, what we say tongue in cheek is fix the money, right? How do you fix the money? Well, Bitcoin people have been thinking about how to fix the money. And I think what we've realized is the way to fix the money is to integrate the promise of technology. What does Bitcoin represent? It represents digital capital. Digital, something that moves at the speed of light to a billion people. Capital, scarcity, right? It represents a capital asset with integrity. So how do we fix the money for a billion people? And what we realized is the answer is not convincing a billion people to adopt Bitcoin as the currency instead of the dollar or the yen or the euro. And the answer is not getting them to, throw away their bank, replace the government, rethink their world, disclaim interest in all corporations, and self-custody, right? These are all crypto ethos things. And it's not that I'm not negative on them. They're all valuable. But I think after 5 years, and believe me, I preach Bitcoin to more people than, anybody, it's 1,000 hours, and you're going to convince 1%, 2%, 3% of the people to put 5% of their money into this asset. You're not going to convince 75-year-old retirees, right? Nor should you.
When you really sit with what Michael Saylor is saying, it forces a different kind of question. Not hype, something deeper. Because the idea of an asset that can compound at scale, almost like a bank account that pays you 8% forever, sounds powerful, but also uncomfortable. Is that sustainable? Or is it the signal of a system being repriced in real time? For decades, keeping money in the bank has quietly guaranteed one thing: loss of purchasing power. Inflation eats, slowly, invisibly. That's not opinion, that's structure. And when you zoom out, money has never stood still. From shells to gold to fiat controlled by central banks, every shift felt impossible until it happened. Now Bitcoin enters that timeline, not as certainty, but as pressure on the existing system. Institutions are watching, some are moving, others are hesitating, and that tension is where the truth usually hides. So maybe the question isn't whether Bitcoin wins, but what changes if it doesn't. Listen closely as he breaks it down further.
So What's the great product idea? Wouldn't it be great if I just bought a product and it paid me money for the rest of my life? Like, I just want 10%, a bank account that pays me 10% or 8%. If the natural organic inflation rate is 7%, and I think you can make the argument, and I've made this argument with you guys probably in the past, over 100 years, the natural currency debasement rate is about 7%. And so if your money is paying you more than 7%, then you're keeping up with the cost of living. And if you're getting 2%, you're getting debased and you're getting poorer. So how about bank accounts that pay 8% to 1 billion people? Right? That's the product. How do you create that? So we create a credit instrument and we strip the vol off of it. We offer 11, but if you're a bank in Australia, you could just take that 11 and you could pass through 8, convert it to AUD. And if you're a bank in Europe, you could offer 6 or 7% in euros. So we basically create digital credit and we offer it to Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan and Commonwealth Bank and Morgan Stanley and BlackRock and Vanguard. And if people, if you think of it as just high-powered money, what is high-powered money? It's a unit account, a store of value, a medium of exchange. Well, stable coins proved that they were a medium of exchange and unit of account, but if we cripple their ability to pay a yield, they're not a store of value. So I want something that's stable to the dollar, but I want it to appreciate, ideally tax-deferred, more than 7%. So, and this is me drawing inspiration from the entire crypto industry, right? The stable coins taught us something. Bitcoin taught us something. Digital exchanges taught us something. What's the big idea? The big idea is give people this digital money market type instrument. Maybe we're not the money market. Maybe we're the digital credit layer. Bitcoin is the digital capital layer. And the third layer is digital money. And the banks and the financial advisors, they create the digital money. It's like I meet with, the Emiratis and I said, okay, you got a bank. What if your bank just offered people 8% on their dollar deposits? Okay, well, people want to overthink this thing. It's like you see fire. Some people run away from the fire. Some people want to juggle the fire. They're fools. They want to juggle the fire. And then some people put the fire into the car or the plane and they create a jet airplane or a car. It's like most people juggle the fire. Like you're trading Bitcoin and trying to be right and wrong. It can be juggling the fire. Here's the idea, the big idea. The bank in the UAE pays you 8%. You wire $100 billion. They pay you 8%. They get the $100 billion. They keep 100 or 200 basis points. You just double the gross national product of the country. Okay, what did you do? Not that complicated, right? The irony is, and this is what drives people nuts, they're looking for a complicated solution when in fact the obvious simple solution is right in front of them. And that is this. You just step digital credit down to 0 vol, convert it to the currency of choice, give people a bank account to pay 6% in yen, 8% in euros, 8% in dollars. The money flows into the bank, then it flows into digital credit, then it flows into digital capital. Digital capital is scarce, desirable, and cannot be debased. The price of the digital capital goes up, the collateral goes up, right? We remit the cash flows from the capital gain back to the credit investors. So what is the end game? Let's give 1 billion people a bank account that pays them 8%. Like what is the best product in the world? Like in my opinion, the best product in the world is a product that you buy once that brings you utility forever. Right? What is the universal word in the English language for utility? Money. What's the best product? I'm just going to give you 4 times the monetary yield of the bank, 4 times the risk-free rate, what do I got to do? Nothing, right? I could be blind, I can be deaf, right? Even with an iPhone, right? You need hands, right? Right? You got to, if you're blind and you don't have hands and you can't see or whatever, then maybe the iPhone is not the best product. But guys, we're getting to a world where there are going to be perfect products. I'll give you 3 off the top of my head. 1, a digital bank account that simply pays you more than the inflation rate with all the volatility stripped off of it for the rest of your life and for the life of your children's children's children. That's 1. That is something like digital money, digital credit. Here's another one. Self-driving car. You see people doing this with Teslas now. I buy a car, I get in the car, I tell it where I want to go, it gets me there, it parks itself, it's stress-free, I can sleep in the car. If you can be blind and sleep in the car, that is closest thing to a perfect automobile. Like, do you want one? Of course you want one. And then the last, intelligent robot. I get the robot. It does all of my work forever without complaining. Everything I don't want to do. Okay, what do all 3 have in common? I spent $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. I bought something once, a one-time purchase, and they have digital intelligence or digital assets, something digital in them that makes them work forever. What's it worth to have a bank account that pays you 8% forever, no stress? Right? Well, we can quantify that. Right now, today, there's $300 trillion in credit, $100 trillion in equity investments. If you get 10% of the market, it's $40 trillion, right? So what do we want to be? Well, we spent nearly $58 billion in order to create a crypto reactor to create digital credit. Like, people talk about all the money spent on AI and all the money spent on an airplane. I used to think spending 10 or 20 billion on an airplane was a lot of money. We spent $58 billion to create a crypto reactor. What do you do with it? For every dollar of equity, you can create 10 cents to 20 cents of credit per year. So we basically created a $50 billion thing to be able to create $5 to $10 billion of credit a year. And now we can scale that 30 to 50% a year. We just want to be the company that brought digital credit, digital money to the world. And if we do that, it's worth trillions and trillions. And it would be a good product. Will it be as important as electricity or oil? I don't know, but it's like it's to my mind, it's worth devoting one's life to if you have even a small chance of success. And so that's why we're monomaniacally focused on this, because, fix the money, fix the world. We have a chance, in my opinion, to fix the money for 1 billion people. It's not complicated, just requires that one not get distracted.